Hello, good afternoon, my dear students. So, as you are already aware, we have completed in business economics two chapters revision. Chapter number two, we had completed, that was nothing but theory of demand and supply. And in our last session, we have also completed chapter number three, that is theory of production and cost. I'm very sure you remember that. These were one of the two most important chapters in our economics curriculum. That doesn't mean at all that other chapters are not important, all are equally important. However, chapter number 2 and chapter number 3 were very huge. Okay, so if you are able to understand that, we have done the revision very nicely and you were able to solve the MCQs nicely. So one thing is very sure. Okay, passing is not a problem, definitely. Now similarly, the attention, the seriousness which you have shown in the last two chapters, I'm expecting the same in the other chapters as well. So, friends, today we are going to start with chapter number 4. That is our target. And we will be left with two more chapters, chapter number 1 and chapter number 5, that we will be doing in the next session, that is planned on 3rd of December. Now, friends, when we are understanding chapter number 4, you must have seen the name already, price determination under different market forms. Well, let the name be anything, but you have to remember only one thing, that we are focusing on market and revenue as far as chapter number 4 is concerned. Two things are very important here, understanding of market and understanding of revenue. There are different forms of market which we need to be very clear about, and there are different ways to earn revenue: total revenue, marginal revenue, average revenue, and what are the relationship amongst these revenues and cost. So basically, these are the things that we need to work on in order to get the correct answers to our MCQs. Okay. Now, chapter number 4, friends, is basically divided into how many units? So it is divided into 3 units. One by one, we are going to cover all the units in detail. Around 1.5 hours to 2 hours today, we are going to spend entirely on explanation part, because there are a lot of diagrams. Many students have this concern, sir, we do not understand the diagram, or it is very difficult for us to remember or memorize the diagram. Students, you need not memorize even a single diagram. You have to just understand them conceptually and you will be able to solve it. Okay. So, yeah, we are good to start. So, let's go ahead with chapter number 4, unit number 1. Okay. Let's begin. Okay. So, here we have, friends, chapter number 4, market, that we are going to understand. Market and revenue will be the short form that I generally use for this chapter. Okay. So price determination in different markets, what we are going to understand, then it will be the MCQs that we are going to solve. Okay. What we have been doing, first we are learning the entire chapter and then we go on with the MCQs, that is the schedule that we follow for economics revision. So today also we are going to do the same thing. Okay. So yeah, let's begin. The first part is meaning and types of market. That will be our first part, chapter number 4, unit number 1. Okay. So first of all, when we talk about market, right, what do you mean by market, students? What do you mean by market? What generally is market according to you? Right? What is market? In general, we say market is nothing but buying and selling of goods and services. Yes or no? What is market? We say market is nothing but buying and selling of goods and services at a particular place during a particular period of time. Now, let me tell you, students, at a particular place is a very old concept. Now, when we want to do market or when we want to operate market, putting it very frankly, place is not required, because without place also market can be efficiently run. Now, when we are ordering from Flipkart or Amazon, right, when you are buying from Mintra or Jabong, when you are ordering anything online, when you are ordering on phone from Naptol, is there any particular place that you visit? No, you are sitting at the comfort of your home. Still, there is buying, there is selling of goods and services, and that will be called as market. Okay, so in market, basically, two things are the most important. What are the two things? First one is buying, of course, the other one is selling. So, if these two things are there, that means it is a market. So, of course, whenever there is an exchange of goods and services, that has to be done for an economic value. Any exchange of goods and services, if that is done for free of cost, then that is not considered as market, because that will be considered as a charity activity or a free promotion activity. That is not an economic activity. So in order to become a market, an economic consideration has to be compulsorily there. All right. So that's about market, friends. Let's go ahead. So the elements of market, the important points which are included in market, we have buyers and sellers, we have a product or service. There are bargaining for a price as well. The prices keep on moving up and down. Knowledge about the market conditions is there. One price of a product or service at a given point of time is also there. Now the next part, students, it is named a classification of market. Very important classification that we are going to understand. Markets can be classified based on the geographical location, based on time element, based on nature of transaction, based on regulation, volume of business, and types of competition. Okay, so A, B, C, D, E, F. There are six parts how we classify the market. Okay, what are the six parts? First one is geographical area. Next one is time. Next one is nature of transaction. Next will be regulation, volume of business, types of competition. Now, when we talk about geographical location, my dear students, first one, it can be based in a very local area, only one branch. So it will be called as local market. If the market is spread to the entire district, let's suppose, it will be called as regional market. If it is spread to the entire country, if you are selling your product to the entire nation, then it will be called as national market. And finally, if you are selling your product not only within the boundaries of our country but also abroad, then it will be called as international market. Right. So when I talk about a local vendor who is selling fruits in a particular locality, will be a local market. But when we talk about a bank like Thane Janta Sahkari Bank, which is operating at the entire district or multiple district level, those that will be regional market. Well, when we talk about Patanjali, so it is catering to the entire nation, it will be national market. But when we talk about a company like Ola, company like Uber, company like Amazon, so they are catering to multiple countries of the world, it will be called as international market. Right? Thanks to technology, thanks to internet, that today international market access has become very much easier, right? And this is the advantage we as a chartered accountant can also take. So think about it. Today, we do not need generations to generation to spread our business from local level to regional, then to regional to national. The things have become very easy because of internet. Right from day one of your launch of your business, when you are making your website and if you are delivering to the entire world, your business becomes an international market. Yes or no? You become an international or a global entity. So this is how the things are changing thanks to internet, and geographical area access has become very much easy for all of us. Then later on, let's go ahead to the next part, that is basis of time. On the basis of time, my friends, it can be very short period market, it can be short period market, it can be long period market, or it can be very long period market. Now, students, MCQ can be placed here. Okay, there are different kinds of MCQs based on the time element or time period which they ask. Okay, so very short period market means what? Nothing can be changed. It is especially the market for perishable goods where you can change nothing, right? Everything remains fixed, constant. Nothing can change. It is called as very short period market. Okay. Now, short period market is what? Short period market is generally when it is slightly more than very short period market and you can change few things, right? You can change few things, but not all the things. So when some factors can be variable, some factors will be fixed, it will be called as short period market. Now, when all the factors that you are using as input can be changed, will be called as long period market. And students, when even the economic condition or the economic scenarios can be changed, it will be called as very long period market, or we also call it as secular market. So there are four parts: very short period where nothing can be changed, short period market where few things can be changed and few remains constant, Long period market where everything that you are using as input in the organization can be changed, and very long period market that entire economy can be changed, economic conditions can be changed. Okay, first one was geographical. Next one is time element. In geographical location, what was the thing, students? Do you remember that? Yeah, please revise it. First one was local market, next one was regional market, next is national, and last one is international market. In time element, students, it will be very short period market, it will be short period market, it will be long period market, and it will be very long period market. On the basis of nature of transactions, there are two types of transaction, students, that we can go for. First one is called as spot market, the other one is called as future market. Now, what do you mean by spot market and what do you mean by future market? Now, today I am paying the cash and I am getting the delivery. I am paying the cash today itself and I am getting the delivery today itself. Then that is called as spot market, or we also call it as cash market. But let's suppose if I am placing an order today and I will be getting the delivery on a future date, it will be called as future market, or it will be also called as forward market. Now, this generally happens in case of stock market. This generally happens in case of currency market. Okay, so let's suppose if I'm buying the stocks today and I'm making the payment today itself. I'm buying shares of, let's suppose, Reliance from NSE online through my broker, and I'm making the payment today itself from my saving bank account. It will be called a spot market beta. But let's suppose if I enter into a contract, sir, is that possible to enter into a contract? Yes, certainly. We call it as a derivative market. Okay, so in derivative market, definitely this is possible. Okay, so let's suppose if we are entering into a contract that we are going to, make the payment in the future, and we want the delivery of that particular share at this particular price in the future itself, then that will be called as future or forward market. Now, why there are two names which are used here, forward and future market? I will highlight that part as well, students. Forward market is the one where buyer and seller know each other personally. Personally, I mean they meet face to face, but there is no intervention of stock market in between. There is no third party in between. It will be called as forward market. But if, let's suppose, buyer and seller do not know each other, and if they are entering into a transaction, entering into a contract with the help of stock market or with the help of a third party, then it will be called as future market. So if there is direct contact between buyer and seller forward, no direct contact between buyer and seller, it will be called as future market. I hope that makes sense and this is very clear. On the basis of geographical location, on the basis of time element, on the basis of nature of transactions. Fourth one, on the basis of regulation, either it can be a regulated market or it can be an unregulated market. Now, what do you mean by regulated market? Which is governed by a regulatory authority, which is governed by a regulatory body. A statutory body is there set up by Indian government in order to scrutinize or regulate the organization. It will be called as regulated market. Sir, for example, stock market is a regulated market. Why? Because we are having SEBI, Securities Exchange Board of India. Insurance market is a regulated market because we have IRDA, Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority. Telecom market is a regulated market. Why? We have TRAI, Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. These are all regulated market, right? So once they are regulated by a particular entity, it is called a regulated market. If there is no regulation at all, it is a free market, anyone can come in, anyone can go out without any regulation, then that will be called as what? That will be called as unregulated market. There is no one to vouch for its audacity, there is no one to vouch for the quality that they are delivering, right? They can cheat the customers. It will be part of unregulated market. Okay, so for example, local vegetable seller vendors, they are not regulated by any kind of rules or regulations, right? Even if they are, they do not register themselves. They are doing their operations or conducting their businesses not under the purview of government of India, so it is unregulated market. So on the basis of regulation, either it will be regulated or it will be unregulated. Next one is on the basis of volume of business. Volume of business, either it will be large volume or it will be small volume. When we are talking about large volume of business, when the buyers and sellers are buying and selling in large quantities, it will be called as wholesale market. When the buyers and sellers are buying and selling in small quantities, it will be called as retail market. A market for retailers, I repeat, a market for retailers is called as wholesale market. A market for consumers is called as retail market. A market for retailer is wholesale market because retailers go and buy from wholesale market. Wholesalers buy it from manufacturers. Yes or no? So wholesale market, bulk or large quantities, small quantities, and directly catering to the consumers, it will be retail market. Last one, on the basis of competition, my dear friends, right? On the basis of competition, how it is determined, let me show you with the help of one table. Okay. So now when we are talking about competition, what kind of competition are we talking about here? See, there are buyers in the market and there are sellers in the market. Do you agree to this? Yes or no? So there are buyers in the market, there are sellers in the market. Now, generally, who are more in any market? Buyers are more or sellers are more in any market? You can say buyers are more. Yes or no? So buyers are many. There are many, many buyers. Correct? Do you agree to this? But sellers, there can be only one seller in a market, right? There can be a market where there are only two sellers. There can be a market where there are few sellers, and ultimately there can be a market where there are many sellers. Okay. So if we are talking about a market where there is only one seller but many buyers, it will be called as monopoly. What is the name? Monopoly. Monopoly is also called as market power. Please remember that. So when there is only one seller but many buyers in a market, it is called as monopoly market. When there are two sellers but many buyers, it will be called as duopoly. When there are few sellers, the definition of few is more than two but less than 10. More than two but less than 10. For example, telecom, right? So telecom industry is having few players in the market. So it will be called as oligopoly. We are going to understand all these things in detail, okay, today. Monopoly, oligopoly. Now, last one, a market where there are many sellers and many buyers. Now, many sellers, many buyers, students, it can be again further classified into two parts. Many sellers, many buyers, if they are buying and selling homogeneous goods. Homogeneous means same to same goods, identical goods, and at same price. That will be called as perfect competition. What's the name I am using here? It is called as perfect competition. Okay. Now there are many sellers and many buyers, but buying and selling heterogeneous product. Which products? Heterogeneous products. Okay. Heterogeneous means different products. Different products. It will be called as which market? It will be called as monopolistic competition. Okay. So now we are having monopoly, we are having duopoly, we are having oligopoly, we are having perfect competition, and we are having monopolistic competition. What do you mean by monopoly? It is a market where there is only one seller but many buyers. Duopoly means a market where there are two sellers and many buyers. Oligopoly means a market where there are few sellers and many buyers. Perfect competition, many sellers, many buyers, but they are buying and selling homogeneous goods at single uniform price. Monopolistic competition, there are large number of buyers and large number of sellers, but there is product differentiation, which means there is heterogeneity in the product. So that's about types of market as far as competition is concerned. But that's not the end, students. Let me show you one more thing here. Now, how we have competition amongst sellers. Similarly, we can have competition amongst buyers as well. Okay, so let me flip the situation now. Sellers, buyers. Okay, so now if there is a market where there are many sellers but there is only single buyer, one buyer, then this will be called as monopsony. How we have one buyer and many sellers, it will be called as monopsony. In the previous example, if you remember, it was one seller and many buyers, monopoly. Okay. Similarly, if there are many sellers but there are only two buyers, this will be called as duopsony. Then there are many sellers but few buyers, it will be called as oligopsony. Simple. And last one, if there are many sellers and many buyers, of course we consider here only heterogeneous product, because homogeneous product means it will be perfect competition only, right? So heterogeneous product, it will be called as monopolistic competition, right? This is just for your understanding, students. Just by chance, if they ask one MCQ, you should be knowing it. That's why I'm sharing it with you. Okay. And there is one last condition that you need to know between buyer and seller. If let's suppose there is only one buyer and one seller, buyer is also one, seller is also one. This is called as bilateral monopoly. Simple, bilateral monopoly. Fair enough. I hope students you are very clear in this. Okay, let's go ahead. So types of market structure. We know what is perfect competition, right? We know what is monopolistic competition. We know what is monopoly, and we know what is oligopoly. In perfect competition, number of sellers are large, product differentiation is none, homogeneous product, price elasticity of demand is infinite, and degree of control over of price is none. That means perfect competition. Please remember one terminology I'm going to use here. These people are the price takers. You will have to sell at the same price. Okay, whatever quantity you are willing to sell, you can sell that, no problem. Infinite you can sell. Hmm? In monopolistic competition, number of sellers again large, product differentiation, yes, there is there. Price elasticity is large, degree of control only some. In oligopoly market, there are some number of sellers, there are less than 10. Product differentiation almost similar, price elasticity will be very less, degree of control over of price hardly any, so some. In monopoly, number of seller is only one, product differentiation can be extreme, you can sell the product as you want. Then price elasticity is less, and degree of control over price is very substantial, very considerable. Yeah. So I hope you are very clear in this. Next one is concept of total revenue, average revenue, and marginal revenue. Okay. So let's begin with this understanding of TR, total revenue, marginal revenue, and average revenue. There are few concept students now I'm going to cover in perfect competition as well as in case of imperfect competition. So I want you to be very attentive because we are going to cover big concepts now. Okay. Let's begin. Okay. So now when we are talking about market, students, I'm going to divide market into two parts. Okay. What are the two parts? First one is going to be perfect competition. And apart from perfect competition, whatever is the other market category, we put it in part of imperfect competition. Okay. Now the only difference between perfect competition and imperfect competition is in perfect competition, we are going to consider homogeneous goods at single uniform price. Price will be constant. In imperfect competition, we are going to consider different price. Okay. Now I'm going to cover three concepts, students, here. What are the three concepts? It is called as TR, MR, and AR. What are the three concepts? TR, MR, and AR. What is TR? TR is nothing but total revenue. How do we get total revenue? It is price into quantity. I'm very sure you are aware about it. Price into quantity. When we do that, we will be getting our total revenue. Similarly, students, when do we get our AR? AR is nothing but TR upon Q. Or friends, let me tell you, I will not be wrong if I say this, that AR is always equal to price. I repeat it again. AR is always equal to price. Many students ask me, sir, how? How average revenue is equal to price? See, what is average revenue? It is nothing but total revenue that you earn divided by the quantity you get. So you will be getting equal to price only. And mathematically also we can prove that. See this. What is TR? What is TR? AR is equal to TR is nothing but P into Q upon Q. Q cancel. So what will be AR? AR will be equal to price. Simple. Now what will be MR? See, MR generally we use like this, TRN minus TRN minus 1. That's fine. But you know, logically, what I always advise to students, don't go for this one. Go for the formula MR is equal to change in TR upon change in Q. So change in total revenue upon change in total quantity or the quantity itself, you will be getting your marginal revenue. And by using this formula, students, you can never ever go wrong. I will tell you why. See, let me help you with one small example. Let me take quantity 1 5, and let me take here TR. Total revenue is, let's suppose here it was 10 and here it is 100. Okay. Now friends, let me say that total revenue, if I go by this formula TRN minus TRN minus 1, what will be my marginal revenue that I will be getting? I will be getting 90. Well, this 90 is wrong. Why? Because if you notice, there is a change in quantity from 1 to 5. So ideally you should be applying the formula MR is equal to delta TR upon delta Q. Okay, so delta TR is how much? So from 10 it is becoming 100. So delta TR is 90, and delta Q, right? The quantity is changing from 1 to 5. So how much is the change in quantity? Change in quantity is 4. It has gone 4 steps up, right? So it will be 90 divided by 4, and answer should be 22.5. Students, this 22.5 is your MR. 90 is not your MR. So that's why I say this formula is very much valid. TR, change in TR upon change in quantity, right? I hope that's very clear for you. Now let's go ahead. In perfect competition, how would this MR, AR, and TR work? And in perfect competition, how it would operate? That we are going to understand now. So first of all, let me give the heading here: perfect competition. Okay. So first one is quantity, then it is price, then we are going to calculate TR, MR, and AR. Okay. So first thing we have is here quantity, price, TR, MR, and AR. Quantity is, let's suppose, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. Now price they have given as 10. Only one price is given, nothing else is given. Now if you are expected to solve this entire table, would you be able to do that on your own? It's simple, yes or no. Why? Because on the top, see, it is perfect competition. In case of perfect competition, the price remains same. The price remains constant. So if price remains constant, friends, price will be 10, 10, 10, 10, and 10. In case of TR now, TR. So what will be TR? It is the price into quantity. So 10 into 1, it will be 10. 10 into 2, 20, 30, 40, and 50. Now MR, change in TR upon change in Q. Before that it would be 0, right? So here it will be 10. Then it will be from 10 to 20, it is happening by 10 units, it is increasing. Change in quantity is 1. So 10 divided by 1, answer will be 10. And it will go on 10. AR is equal to price, it remains constant. So that will be 10 itself. I hope you are very clear in this. Now if I want to draw the diagrams, friends, okay, if I want to draw the diagram, let's suppose in this part you have a scale, you have notebook, students, you have pencil, you can do it very neatly. Okay, so y-axis 0, x-axis, on y-axis we are having TR, we are having MR, we are having AR. On x-axis we shall be having quantity. So quantity will be 1, quantity will be 2, 3, and 4, and 5. Here it will be 10, here it will be 20, 30, 40, and 50. Now if you notice, students, our TR curve will be how? So TR curve will be upward sloping, yes or no, because it is increasing 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So I will be getting my TR curve, which would be something like this. So this becomes my TR. So how is TR curve? If it is asked in the MCQ, it will be upward sloping curve, straight line in perfect competition. And how is our MR and AR curve? MR AR curve will be straight line like this, right? Because it is constant. So this will be MR is equal to AR is equal to price. I hope you are very clear in this, students. So in case of perfect competition, how is MR curve and AR curve? I repeat it again. My question to you is very simple. In case of perfect competition, how is MR curve and AR curve? So the answer is, it is straight line parallel to x-axis. Horizontal straight line, students. It is straight line parallel to x-axis. I hope that makes sense to all of you. Right? Very clear in this. Let's go ahead. Next one that we are going to have, it is imperfect competition. Mhm. Please, whatever I am sharing with you, keep this in your mind. This will be very helpful for us when we are doing the diagrams of unit number 1, number 3 as well. At that time, I'm just going to ask, how is MR curve, how is AR curve, and that time your answer should be very clear. Okay. In case of imperfect competition, again we are going to have what? We are going to have quantity, we are going to have price, we are going to have TR, we are going to have MR, and we are going to have AR. Quantity, price, TR, MR, AR. Okay. All right. All right. So now quantity we are having, let's suppose 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now price, it cannot be just 10. If it is given 10, you cannot determine the other prices. You need to know price of all the commodities. Why? Because this is an imperfect competition. In case of imperfect competition, price is not constant, price is not same, price will be different, right? So here let's suppose the price is 10, and then it is 8, then it is 6, then it is 4, and finally it is 2. So what will be total revenue now? Total revenue is nothing but price into quantity, correct? So price into quantity, so 10 into 1, it will be 10, 8 into 2 will be 16, then it will be 18, then it will be 16 again, and finally it will be 10. Now if I want to calculate MR, students, how will be my MR? MR is nothing but delta TR upon delta Q. So in the first it will be 10, and then it is 6, then it is 2, then it will be minus 2, and finally it will be minus 6. I hope that makes sense. Next one is AR. AR is always equal to price, so that will be 10, 8, 6, 4, and 2. Now if I want to show this case in the diagram, okay, how will my diagram look like? Okay, so let's begin. Right, so on y-axis we are going to plot TR, MR, and AR. On x-axis we are going to plot quantity, correct? So quantity will be as usual, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now TR, we can take a scale of 2. Okay, so it will go up to 18. So that will be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and 18. Now if we are having TR, friends, it starts from 10, and then it goes up to 18, and then it comes back to 10, right? So this is how the TR would be. Do you all agree to this inverted U curve, right? And if I want to draw MR and AR curve, see, AR will be very simple. It will be 10, then it is 8, then it is 6, then it is 4, and finally it is 2. So AR curve will be straight line downward sloping. It is just like demand curve. So often AR curve is also referred to as demand curve. Okay, so AR curve is downward sloping. Similarly, if I want to draw MR curve, 1 is 10, 2 will be 6, MR 2 is 6, then at 3 it will be 2, at 4 it will be minus 2. So here we have, let's suppose, minus 2, minus 4, and minus 6. It will be minus 2 and minus 6. So MR curve will be downward sloping, but it will also become negative, right? So let me just draw it again, students, which is very precise so that you understand this nicely. So this is our MR. Okay, when TR is maximum, MR is 0, right? So this is our MR curve, AR curve, and TR curve in case of imperfect competition. The only thing that you need to be clear about, it is MR curve and AR curve. Both are downward sloping. Will you remember that? Yeah. And MR curve can become negative. MR can be positive, MR can be negative, MR can be 0. AR cannot be 0. AR cannot be negative because price cannot be negative. TR cannot be negative. TR will always be positive. Very clear in this. So that's imperfect competition for all of us. So we have completed a very important topic, students. That is types of revenue, right? This is the diagram that we have just made, right? The relationship between TR and MR. When TR is maximum, MR will be 0. Fair enough. Now, the last part in unit number 1, we know how is MR and AR curve, right? Isn't it? It is straight line parallel to x-axis in case of perfect competition. Now, the next part is relationship between MR, AR, TR and elasticity of demand. Now, friends, when we are talking about relationship, many students ask me this question. Sir, how did we get this answer? How is the relationship between AR and MR and elasticity there? So you have to remember one thing, students. You have to remember this formula. MR is equal to AR into E minus 1 upon E. MR is equal to AR into E minus 1 upon E. See now, if E is 1, 1 minus 1 upon 1, 1 minus 1 is 0, 0 upon 1 is 0 into AR, whatever it will be 0. So when elasticity is equal to 1, see, remember this, when elasticity is equal to 1, what will be MR? MR will be equal to 0. You can calculate that, right? When elasticity is greater than 1, when it is greater than 1 means, let's suppose it is 2. So 2 minus 1 upon 2. So that will be 1 divided by 2, 0.5 AR. That means MR is positive. So when elasticity is greater than 1, MR is what? MR is positive. See, we are doing revision, students. Please understand this, right? We have to be very quick in this. When elasticity is less than 1, if elasticity is less than 1, let's suppose it is E is 0.5, 0.5 minus 1 upon 0.5, answer will be negative. So MR is negative, right? So when is MR negative? When elasticity is less than 1. When is MR positive? When elasticity is greater than 1. And when is MR 0? When elasticity is equal to 1. Very clear in this, right? So if we are drawing diagram, okay, and if let's suppose this is our demand curve, okay, demand curve at center point, this is our elasticity. E is equal to 1. Here E is greater than 1. Here E is less than 1. Yes or no? Now let's look at the MR curve. If I want to show the MR curve in the same diagram, how it will look like. See, be very careful, be very attentive. If this is my MR curve, MR curve is downward sloping, it can become negative as well. Now when elasticity is greater than 1, look at this one. When elasticity is greater than 1, at this point my MR is still above x-axis, it is positive. Yes or no? When elasticity is equal to 1, when elasticity is equal to 1, unitary elastic, at this point, look at my MR. MR is representing 0 here. And when similarly, when elasticity is less than 1, when elasticity is less than 1, look at my MR. MR is this point. MR is what? MR is negative. So the same thing we have seen in the formula, and I'm showing you in the diagram as well. This is very conceptual, okay? I hope everyone is getting this, guys. Very simple. I'm taking too much of time on this because I want you to have it straight into your head. Okay, no chance can be taken here, students. These are the points where they ask MCQ. Certainly, there will be one MCQ on this relationship. Okay, let's go ahead. So yeah, we know that the relationship between MR, AR, and TR, right? So we know the relationship. This is the same thing when elasticity is equal to 1. MR is 0. When elasticity is greater than 1, MR is positive. When elasticity is less than 1, MR is negative. At the same point, students, you need to remember one thing. Whenever your MR is equal to 0, your TR will be maximum. So when elasticity is equal to 1, TR will be maximum. Please remember one additional point. Okay, when elasticity is greater than 1, TR will be increasing. When elasticity is less than 1, your TR will be decreasing. These are the points you can make a note of as well. Now, next one is behavioral principle. Now, in behavioral principle, we are having two principles, students. First one, a firm should not produce at all if total variable costs are not met. If what do you mean by this? What do you mean by this? This means if your price is equal to your variable cost, that is nothing but your average revenue is equal to your average variable cost, at that time it will be shutdown point. Which point? Come on again. It will be called as your shutdown point. That means you should not be doing the business. So a firm should not produce if the total variable costs are not met. Okay, so there will be shutdown point if the price is below AVC. I hope you are very clear in this because that will be the point of minimum losses. Okay, because that is the point minimum losses. Why? Because your total cost will be equal to your fixed cost. Okay, and you will be having your operating loss which is equal to your fixed cost. I repeat it again, you will be having operating loss which will be equal to your fixed cost. Next one, behavioral principle number 2. What is that principle number 2? What is the point of maximum profit? The maximum profit point, This will be the point which will be your ideal level of production when you are getting the maximum profit. This will be the point where your MR is equal to your MC. This is our behavioral principle number 2. What was the first principle, students? First principle was when your price is equal to your variable cost, you will stop your production. That will be your shutdown point. The second point says what is your ideal level of output. Your ideal level of output is a point where your MR is equal to your MC, where your marginal revenue is equal to your marginal cost. So that will be the point of maximum profit. Okay, so this is what is written here. The firm will be making maximum profit by expanding output to the level where marginal revenue is equal to your marginal cost. And diagrammatically, how do we represent this? So marginal revenue curve is downward sloping, marginal cost curve is upward sloping, right? So marginal revenue curve will be downward sloping, marginal cost curve is upward sloping. When they both intersect each other, that will be the point of profit maximization. And how do we get that? See, logically also, if you understand, when your MR is greater than your MC, that means you are earning more of revenue as compared to your cost. Yes or no? So if your revenue is greater than cost, what will happen to your profit? Your profit will be increasing. This is what is given here. Your profit will be increasing. See this. Are you seeing this? Profit is increasing. But at this point, look at this point. My marginal cost is greater than my marginal revenue. If my cost is greater than my revenue, guys, what will happen to my profit? Will it be increasing or will it be decreasing? Absolutely, it will be decreasing. So in this case, the profit is decreasing. So when marginal cost is greater than marginal revenue, please keep this in your mind here. Marginal cost is greater than marginal revenue. That means profit will be decreasing. Marginal revenue is greater than marginal cost. Total profit will be increasing. At the point where marginal revenue is equal to your marginal cost, it will be the point of maximum profit, highest total profit will be observed. That is the ideal level of output that you can have. If you produce less than this, when your marginal revenue is greater than your marginal cost, and if you stop at that point, that means you are underutilizing your resources, right? If you go ahead of this point, if you try to produce at a point where your marginal cost is more than your marginal revenue, at that time you will be making loss, students, because your total profit will decline. That is not a good point. So ideally, what is the optimum level of output? Optimum level of output, or the point of profit maximization, write it down. It is at the point where MR is equal to MC. Productive efficiency is MR is equal to MC. Okay, so that's about our unit number 1. I hope you are very clear in unit number 1 entirely. Yes or no? Let's go ahead, guys, to the next unit. That is unit number 2. What we are going to understand, it is determination of prices. Now when we are going to talk about determination of prices, basically we are going to find out the equilibrium price first of all, which we have already studied in chapter number 2. Again, we are going to revise it, and we are going to understand various cases how changes in demand and changes in supply will influence our level of equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. Okay, so in the next 20 to 25 minutes or so, we are going to understand entire unit number 2. I hope, students, you will be with me, right? So I'm just showing you this entire part. Okay, so you know what we are going to understand. Okay, so let's begin. Determination of prices is the topic. The first thing that we are going to do in determination of price, okay, the first thing that we are going to do in determination of price is we are going to find out our equilibrium price. The first thing, okay, the first thing is equilibrium price. After that, we are going to discuss few cases. Okay, few cases in which the demand changes and the supply changes, because of which the equilibrium price and the equilibrium quantity also changes. So what are the different cases that we are going to have? Let's look at it. Okay, so case number 1, demand increases, supply doesn't change. Case number 2, demand decreases, supply doesn't change. Case number 3, demand doesn't change, supply increases. Case number 4, demand doesn't change, supply decreases. How will be the questions placed in this scenario? One thing which you might be noticing, the demand of computers increase, what will be the effect on equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity of the computers, right? Then there might be one more question. There is a increase in demand of strawberries. At the same time, the climate has been very favorable towards production of strawberry. So what will happen? So this is the case of increase in demand, increase in supply. Now they are asking you what will be the effect on equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. So friends, these are the things where you need to emphasize on. In equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity, what will be the changes depending upon demand and supply? This is what we need to find out. Okay, so let's begin. The next case, we are going to discuss few cases today. Case number 5, let's suppose demand increases, supply also increases, but in the same proportion. Case number 6, demand decreases, supply decreases in the same proportion. Case number 7, demand increases, supply decreases in the same proportion. Case number 8, demand decreases, supply increases in the same proportion. The proportion here is important because if the proportion changes, then the equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity will be different in all the scenarios. Case number 9, demand increases more than the increase in supply. Case number 10, demand increases less than the increase in supply. Case number 11, demand decreases more than the decrease in supply. Case number 12, demand decreases less than the decrease in supply. In every scenario, students, we have to find out what will be the equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. Okay, so the next and the last set, 13th one, demand increases more than the decrease in supply. Demand increases less than the decrease in supply. Case number 15, demand decreases more than the increase in supply. And last one, 16th one, demand decreases less than the increase in supply. Okay, so these are the basically things, students, that we need to know very nicely. 16 cases are present in front of you. In this equilibrium price and this 16 cases, your entire unit number 2 will be done, revised completely. Okay, so make sure, students, you need to understand very nicely. Now first of all, equilibrium price, we are going to have first thing, which is price here. Then we have quantity demanded, and finally we are going to have quantity supplied. Okay, so let's focus on what will be our equilibrium price. Okay, so price here, let's suppose we are taking 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, now what will be the demand? In case of 5, will it be lowest demand or will it be highest demand? The answer will be, it will be lowest demand. Like lowest demand will be 10, let's suppose. As the price goes on falling from 5 to 4, 4 to 3, 3 to 2, and 2 to 1, the demand will go on rising. So demand will become from 10 to 20, then it will be 30, 40, and 50. Similarly, my dear friends, if we are talking about supply, at price 5, the supply will be 50, then it will be 40, then it will be 30, then it will be 20, and finally it will be 10. So what should be the equilibrium price according to you? The equilibrium price certainly should not be a point where demand is greater than supply or supply is greater than demand. It should be a point where demand is equal to supply. So this will be our point of equilibrium price. So our equilibrium price will be 3 and equilibrium quantity will be 30. If I want to show the same thing in diagram, right? If I want to show the same thing in diagram, so diagram, we are having again two curves. We will be having demand curve and supply curve. This is y-axis 0 and x-axis, right? So here we are going to have price. Here we are going to have quantity demanded and quantity supplied. Demand curve is how, students? Demand curve is downward sloping. Yes or no? How is our supply curve? Our supply curve is upward sloping. So demand curve is downward sloping, supply curve is upward sloping. When they both intersect each other, this becomes our equilibrium price. Okay, this is our equilibrium price and this will be our equilibrium quantity. See, this equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity are going to act as the basis of the next 16 types. Once you understand the 16 diagram, students, let any question come on the increase in demand, decrease in demand, increase in supply, decrease in supply. I can bet 100% you will be able to get right answer. Okay. So just be with me. If you have understood this increase, if you have understood this equilibrium price based on demand and supply equilibrium, you will be able to understand everything. Okay, one more thing. Do you remember what is increase in demand and what is decrease in demand? If this is my original demand curve D, if there is increase in demand, the demand curve will shift towards right. If there is decrease in demand, it will shift towards left. Do you agree to this? Similarly, in case of increase and decrease in supply, please remember this. If supply curve is given S, if there is increase in supply, it will shift towards right. Increase in supply, this will shift towards right. This is increase in supply. If there is decrease in supply, it will shift towards left. So this will be called as S2, will be our decrease in supply. Very clear in this? So increase in supply, increase in demand, both will be towards right. Decrease in demand and decrease in supply, both will be towards left. Very clear in this, guys? Okay, so let's go ahead. Okay. Now, in this 16 cases, students, the first case which is there in front of us, demand increases, but supply doesn't change. Let us draw the basic diagram first. This is our equilibrium demand and this is our equilibrium supply. So this becomes our equilibrium quantity and this becomes our equilibrium price. I'm not writing y-axis, x-axis to save time, uh, but you know that. I'm very sure about it. So this is equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. Now, the changes, let's focus on change. What is happening to demand curve? Demand is increasing. Demand is increasing. So demand will shift towards right. Is there any change in supply, guys? No. So this is our new demand D1 D1. This will be our new equilibrium. So according to this, our new equilibrium quantity increases, our new equilibrium price increases. So what happens here? If demand is increasing and there is no change in supply, that means the equilibrium price will increase and equilibrium quantity will also increase. Simple, right? Next one. Now one by one we are going to do all the diagrams. So this is our demand curve, downward sloping. I'll go a little fast now. This is our supply curve. This is our equilibrium quantity and this is our equilibrium price. In every case we are going to do this, okay? Now what is happening here? Change in demand. Demand is decreasing. So demand curve will shift where? It will shift towards left. So if it shifts towards left, D1, D1, okay, what will happen to our equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity? Come on. Equilibrium price will fall. Equilibrium quantity will also fall. So how the question will be placed? Let me tell you one thing. Okay, how the questions will be placed. If the income increases, okay, because of the effect of increase in income on inferior quality goods, what will be the new equilibrium price and quantity of inferior quality goods? Now, because the income has increased, people will buy more of inferior quality goods or superior quality goods? Superior quality goods. So in case of inferior quality goods, the demand will decrease. If the demand decreases, the demand curve will shift towards left, which is in this case, second case. If demand curve shifts towards left, the equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity both will fall. Very clear in this, right? Please remember this, guys. This is going to be very, very important question. Every year we have seen around 2 to 3 questions are based on this relationship only. So don't take any risk. Follow this very nicely. Okay, let's go ahead. Okay, so this is our demand curve. This is our supply curve, equilibrium quantity and equilibrium price, which is the basic thing. Now in this scenario, friends, what is happening? Come on, next one. Our demand is not changing, so demand curve will remain same, but the supply is increasing. Supply increases, so it will shift towards right. So if it shifts towards right, this will be our S1 new curve, and this will be our new equilibrium. Quantity increases equilibrium quantity, but equilibrium price decreases. So whenever there is no change in demand but supply increases, equilibrium price will decrease and equilibrium quantity will increase. On this page, the next scenario, this is our demand curve, this is our supply curve, equilibrium quantity and original equilibrium price. Now in this case, demand is not changing. Not changing means we are not going to touch demand curve at all. But supply curve, supply diminishes or decreases, it will shift towards left. So if it shifts towards left, this will be our new supply curve, S1. What happens to our equilibrium quantity and equilibrium price? Be very careful. Equilibrium price increases and equilibrium quantity decreases, correct? So this is how, these are the first four scenarios. I hope you are very clear in this. Let's go quickly on the next one. Now the things get little critical. Be very attentive, because in the above four diagrams we have only changed one variable, either demand or supply. Now the time has come when the both the things will be changing. But in the next four cases, students, what we are going to understand, there will be change in demand, there will be change in supply, but the proportion of change in demand and the proportion of change in supply is going to be the same. Okay, so let's begin. So this is my demand curve D, supply curve S, equilibrium quantity we have derived, equilibrium price we have derived. Next one case, change in demand. Demand increases. Increases means it will shift towards right, D1. Now there is increase in supply, but the change in demand and supply is same. So what will happen to supply curve? See this, S1. Now look at this new equilibrium. Look at the new equilibrium quantity and look at the new equilibrium price. Right? What is happening, guys? Price remains same, but equilibrium quantity increases. So moral of the story is, if there is change in demand and supply, but simultaneously they both increase in the same proportion, then the equilibrium price will remain constant, but equilibrium quantity will increase. Okay, next one. This is our demand curve D, this is our supply curve S, this is our equilibrium quantity Q and equilibrium price P. Now demand decreases. Demand decreases, that means demand curve will shift towards left. So this will be my new demand curve, guys, D1. Supply curve decreases in the same proportion, in the same proportion. So this is my new supply curve, S1, right? So look at the new equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. It is this one, right? So what is happening to my new equilibrium price? Again, price remains same, but equilibrium quantity, what happens to equilibrium quantity? It decreases. So if there is a simultaneous fall or decrease in demand and decrease in supply in the same proportion, the equilibrium price will remain same, but the equilibrium quantity will decrease. Okay, next one. Now things will be little different, because now they are going to work in the opposite direction. So this is our demand curve, original demand curve. This is our original supply curve. When they both intersect each other, that will be our equilibrium quantity and equilibrium price. The next part, guys, what is happening to demand and what is happening to supply? Right? Look at this very carefully. The demand is increasing. Demand is increasing, so it will shift towards right. So this is my new demand curve. Yes or no? D1. Now what is happening to supply curve? The supply curve is decreasing. Supply is decreasing, so it will shift towards left. Look at this, supply curve is S1, correct? Now what is happening to the new equilibrium? New equilibrium is a point where demand curve and supply curve both intersect each other. So equilibrium price, oh, equilibrium price has increased, but look at the equilibrium quantity. Quantity remains same. So if there is price is increasing, but equilibrium quantity remains same. Very clear in this, guys? Sure. Okay. So we are almost halfway through now in this all the diagrams. So I'm sure you are understanding this. Okay. Next 10 minutes or so, you should be in a position to understand all the different kinds of variety in changes in demand and supply, which will easily fetch you 3 to 4 marks in your examination better. This is our original demand curve. This is our original supply curve. This is our equilibrium quantity. This is our equilibrium price. Okay. Now, what is happening to demand curve and what is happening to supply curve? Try to analyze what will be the scenario now. Demand curve is decreasing. So decrease in demand, that means demand will shift towards left. So this means this is my D1. And what is happening to my supply? Supply is increasing. Supply is increasing. So in the same proportion. So this will be my S1. Look at the new equilibrium price and new equilibrium quantity, friends. Equilibrium price. Equilibrium price decreases, right? So equilibrium price decreases. And what happens to the equilibrium quantity? It remains same. So when demand decreases and supply increases in the same proportion, equilibrium price will decrease and equilibrium quantity will remain same. Clear? Hmm? Let's go ahead. Okay. Now, this is our demand curve. This is our supply curve. This is our original equilibrium quantity and original equilibrium price. Now, the things are slightly different here, students. The change in demand is more than the change in supply. Okay. So now look at this very carefully. The demand is increasing, but in a greater proportion as compared to increase in supply. So demand is increasing. So this is our new demand, D1, D1. Okay. But look at supply. Supply is increasing only slightly. Okay. So there is only small change in supply. If they have clearly given the proportionate change in quantity demanded and supplied, only then we can derive this. Okay. So quantity, equilibrium quantity and equilibrium price both are changing. Yes or no? What is happening to equilibrium price, friends? Equilibrium price is increasing and equilibrium quantity is also increasing. So when demand and supply both are increasing, but demand increases more than the increase in supply, equilibrium price will increase and equilibrium quantity will also increase. You did not remember in what proportion. Okay, many a time students ask me this query. So do we have to remember the proportion of quantity is more than the proportion of price? No, beta, you need not remember that. That is not part of our syllabus. Okay, but yes, this you need to remember. Okay, next one. If demand increases, supply also increases. Now, if you notice, point number 9 and point number 10 are similar. Both are increasing, but the proportion is different. If the proportion is different, then the effect on price and effect on equilibrium quantity will also be different. How, sir? Let us have a look at point number 5, I think. Yes. Now look at point number 5. Demand and supply both are increasing, right? Correct? So demand and supply both are increasing, but they are increasing in the same proportion. So price remains constant, but quantity increases. Here, in case number 9, both are increasing, but demand increases more. So price increases and quantity also increases. That means one thing is very sure. When both are increasing, equilibrium quantity has to increase. But the effect on price can only be certain if you know demand and supply are increasing in what proportion. That means if they are not given the proportion and if they are mentioned like this in the question, there is an increase and increase in demand and increase in supply, then what will be the effect on equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity? The answer will be equilibrium quantity will increase, but equilibrium price cannot be determined, because equilibrium price depends upon the changes, the proportionate change in demand and supply. Okay, I will prove this in point number 10 again. Once again, see, in 10 also I'm going to tell you the equilibrium quantity has to definitely increase because both are increasing demand and supply. But what is the effect on price? It will be exactly opposite of ninth. How, sir? Let's have a look at it. So friends, see this. This is our equilibrium demand and supply. Now demand and supply give us equilibrium quantity and equilibrium price, right? Now what is happening to demand? Demand is increasing. Demand is increasing, so demand curve will shift towards right. So this is my new demand curve which I have got. Demand curve D1. Supply curve is also increasing, but supply increases more than the increase in demand. More than that means the change in supply will be more as compared to demand. So this is my change in supply. See, look at this. Demand is changing by this amount, and supply I'm making the changes this. Okay. So according to this, the new equilibrium quantity Q1, the new equilibrium price P1. So what is happening? Price falls and quantity rises. The quantity increase is definitely certain. Price, we can say it will be depending upon the level of changes in demand and supply. Then only we can determine. Very clear in this. Now let's look at 11th and 12th one. Okay. Now this one will be easy for you to understand because we have understood ninth and 10th case in detail. So this is my demand curve. This is my supply curve. This is equilibrium quantity and equilibrium price. Now look at the demand curve. Demand curve is decreasing. Demand will be decreasing, but it will be decreasing in a large quantity, right? So this will be D1. What is happening to supply? Supply is also decreasing, but by a minute quantity, right? So what is happening to equilibrium quantity and equilibrium price? Both decrease. So equilibrium price also decreases and equilibrium quantity also decreases. Very clear in this. Similarly, next one, point number 12. Now if you look at 11th and 12th, they are similar. Both are decreasing. Both are decreasing, but one thing is sure, beta. What is that? The change is different. In 11th one, increase in demand, decrease in demand is more than the decrease in supply. In 12th one, the decrease in supply is more than the decrease in demand. Okay. So this is our demand curve. This is our supply curve. This is our equilibrium quantity and equilibrium price. Okay. Now see this very carefully. Now there is decrease in demand, a small quantity decrease. So this is my new D1. And what is happening to my supply? Supply decreases to a big quantity, large quantity. So look at equilibrium quantity and equilibrium price. Equilibrium price rises, equilibrium quantity decreases, right? So that's our case number 12. Now let's go ahead to the final four cases, students. With this, our entire unit number 2 will be complete. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Demand curve, downward sloping. Supply curve is upward sloping. This is our equilibrium quantity and equilibrium price. Demand increases more than the decrease in supply. So increase in demand, this is our increase in demand, which is huge, and decrease in supply, which will be minute. So this is our S1. So what is our new equilibrium quantity and new equilibrium price? Hmm? What is that? Simple, right? What is happening? Price is increasing, quantity is also increasing. Simple. Yes, very much. Next one. This is our again demand curve, and this is our supply curve. This becomes our equilibrium quantity and equilibrium price. Now the next one, friends, demand increases. So demand curve will shift towards right. Yes or no? So if demand curve is this one, it shifts towards right. Supply decreases, it shifts towards left, but in a large quantity. So S1, S1. Now look at the new equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. Equilibrium price increases and equilibrium quantity decreases depending upon the changes in demand and supply. The last two cases, my dear friends, we have come a long way now in revision also. Okay, we have done in detail. So I don't think there must be any problem now. Demand curve, supply curve, equilibrium quantity, equilibrium price. Okay, so now we have to find out the new demand, new supply, based on which we will be getting our new price and equilibrium quantity. So demand is decreasing. Demand decreases to a large quantity. To a large quantity, that means it will shift towards left. Okay, this is our D1. Supply increases in a smaller proportion. So supply increases. Now what happens to equilibrium quantity and equilibrium price? You are smart enough to gauge by now, right? You have become pro in this now. Price falls and quantity also falls. The last part in this, guys. Mhm. Okay, so this is my demand curve and this is our supply curve. This becomes our equilibrium quantity and equilibrium price. Okay, now look at the demand curve and supply curve. The demand here has to decrease, so it will go where? It will go towards left. So we will be getting new demand which will go towards left. So this becomes our D1. And look at the supply curve. The supply curve shifts towards right in a large quantity. Yes or no? So this will be our supply curve. Look at the new equilibrium quantity and new equilibrium price. Price will decrease and quantity will increase, right? So I hope students you are very clear in this, right? That completes our all the 16 possibilities which are there on planet Earth. Okay, this is the maximum coverage of determination of prices that we can have. There are no other possibilities which will be asked in your examination. So once you have understood all these things, that's it. You're done, right? I hope you are very clear in this. Yeah. Okay. Mm, let us see if I can pull one or two MCQs to answer this. This is just impromptu that I am doing, friends. This was not planned, but I want you to understand this concept nicely. So I am doing. Okay. Mm, see this now. Given a supply curve, a decrease in demand causes, right? Look at this. Given a supply curve, a decrease in demand curve. Now, I am solving this in front of you. If this type of questions are asked, don't, even if you are sure, please don't mark the answers directly. Draw the diagram, only then mark the answer. Okay. Now, see, this is our demand curve. This is our supply curve, yes or no? This will be our equilibrium quantity and equilibrium price. Now, look at the question carefully what they are saying. Given a supply curve, there is a decrease in demand. If there is decrease in demand, demand curve will shift towards left. So this is our D1, D1. Look at equilibrium quantity and look at equilibrium price. Price falls and equilibrium quantity also falls. So there will be an overall decrease in price, but an increase in equilibrium quantity, nah. An increase in overall increase in price, nah. An overall decrease in price and decrease in equilibrium quantity, huh? Right? So C becomes our correct answer. D, no need to look at. Okay. Assume that consumers' income and the number of sellers in the market for a good both decrease. consumers income decreases. Now students, consumer income decreases, that means demand will decrease. Number of sellers in the market for a good decrease, number of sellers decrease, that means supply will also decrease. What is this scenario? Demand decreases, supply decreases, but we do not know the, but we do not know what, we do not know the proportion of fall in demand and fall in supply. We only know that demand is falling and supply is also falling, both decrease. Based on the information we can conclude which is certainly that what will be the equilibrium price or equilibrium quantity. How we can determine? Let's look at the, the cases that we have solved. Decrease in demand and decrease in supply, isn't it? So let's look at the point, decrease in demand and decrease in supply. See point number 6, price remains same but quantity decreases. Now can we say price remains same but the quantity decrease is very certain? Why, sir? Look at point number 11 and 12. Decrease in demand, decrease in supply. 12th is also decrease in demand, decrease in supply. In all the three scenarios, students, if you notice, the quantity is definitely decreasing. But price cannot be determined until and unless we know the proportion of change in demand and supply. So what will be the correct answer here? The correct answer should be change in price cannot be determined, but change in quantity can be determined. Quantity will decrease. So what will be the correct answer? D will be the correct answer. Quantity will definitely decrease. I hope students you are very clear in this, right? That's our question number 14 from ICI module. Let me do one more question so that we are very much through with this concept altogether. If supply increases in the greater proportion than demand, supply increases more than the change in demand, right? We have already done this question. So I will pull that up for us. Supply increases more than the demand, right? So, okay. Case number 9. No, 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 no. Supply increases more than the increase in demand. Yes. So that will be case number 10. Yes. Supply increases more than the increase in demand. So equilibrium price falls and equilibrium quantity increases. Equilibrium price falls and equilibrium quantity increases. Is that the same thing which I have written? Yes, I think so. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So now do we have that in option? The new equilibrium price and quantity will be greater than the original one. No. The new equilibrium price will be greater. No. The new equilibrium price and quantity will be lower. No. The equilibrium price will be lower than the equilibrium new original equilibrium and new equilibrium quantity will be higher. D will be the correct answer. I hope students you are very clear in how we are going to solve these questions, right? So it is very simple, once you understand these diagrams, then solving these MCQs are just like a cakewalk here, right? So yeah, that completes our unit number 2. But there is one more diagram. This is our equilibrium quantity here at point 1. Based on this diagram, they will ask you different questions. I'll solve one or two so that you are very clear in this type of questions as well. There should, I don't want to leave anything. We want to revise everything. Okay, so assume X is a normal good. Okay, holding everything else constant, assume that the income increases, demand will increase, and the price of factor of production also increases. Price of factor of production increases, so supply will decrease. Okay, so we have to find out a point where there is decrease in demand and increase in supply. Now decrease in demand, that means demand curve will shift from D1 to D2, and decrease in supply, that means it will shift from S1 to S3. So you have to find out the equilibrium point where D2 matches S3. D2 matches S3. So demand and point number 2. Correct? Right? So this is how you have to find out what will be the answer. So yeah, so answer, if you notice, it is point number 2. Very clear in this. How did we derive that? Let me help you with one more thing. Uh, I'll change the color so that you understand the difference while revising or watching this video online. We are analyzing the market for good Z. Okay. The price of complement good Y declines. Now Y and Z are, let's suppose, complementary. Okay. So price of complement good, Y declines. So let's suppose if Y is car and car becomes cheaper, so demand of petrol will increase. So Z demand will increase. So this is increase in demand scenario. At the same time, there is a technological advancement in production of goods Z. Technological advancement means supply will also increase. So if demand increases, that means it will shift from D1 to D2, and supply also increases. So that means it will shift from S1 to S2. So we have to find out a point where D2 and S2 meet each other, right? So D2 and S2 meet each other at equilibrium point 7, right? At this point, so which I have marked already. Let's see if that is correct. Oh, yes, that's correct. Point number 7. So I hope students you are very clear in how do we solve these questions. Let me complete this set of questions for you. Heavy rains in Maharashtra caused havoc with the rice crop. What point? Havoc with the rice crop means supply will be less. That's it. No effect on demand, right? So if we are having same demand D1, but if supply decreases to S3. So S3 means point 3 would be there. D1 and S3. D1 and S3. Let me see if my answer is correct. Yes, point number 3. That is the correct answer. Right? Let's have a look at the last question, students, here. Assume that the consumer expect the price of new cars to significantly increase next year. Next year they are going to see the increase in price. So right now they will demand more. What point in the figure? So there is increase in demand with the same supply. So supply remains S1, but there will be increase in demand to D2. So from D1 to D2. So we have to find out a point where D2 and S1 meet each other. That will be point number 5. Let's have a look at the answer, students, if it matches with our explanation. Yes, it does. It will be point number 5. So this is how you have to solve this question, students. I hope we are very sure about it, and now we are very much clear. So far we have completed unit number 1 and unit number 2 in chapter number 4, students. Right, we are doing fantastic. You all are attending the video, on YouTube live. I can see that. So great, students. You are doing great. And similarly, now we go on to unit number 3. Right, but before going there, let's take a small break, okay, so that you can rejuvenate yourself, hydrate yourself. Right, if you want to use washroom, go ahead and do that. I'll see you again in 10 minutes. Thank you. Okay. All right, friends. So now that this brings us to our third unit. Okay, unit number one and unit number two we have already completed in chapter four. We'll do a quick revision and then we focus entirely on unit three. Okay. See, we have understood what is revenue. It is nothing but the money that is received by a seller by selling his or her product in the market. Revenue is nothing but the sales receipts or the sales proceeds. Total revenue, we have seen the formula. It is price into quantity. Average revenue is equal to price. We have already spoken about it. Marginal revenue, you are aware about it. It is change in TR upon change in quantity or TRN minus 1. We know the formula also of MR. MR is AR into E minus 1 upon E, right? Next one, behavior we have understood. Then we have understood TR, AR and MR as well. Okay. If TR increases, MR will be positive. When TR is highest, correct? When TR is highest, what happens? MR will be 0. Hmm? So TR keeps on increasing as long as MR is positive. Okay. As soon as the MR becomes 0, TR will be maximum. Hmm? If TR decreases, MR will be certainly negative. MR and AR both decline. MR falls, should be false. Falls rapidly than AR. We all are aware about it. Both are downward sloping. Yes or no? This is our MR. This is our AR. Hmm? AR curve is flatter than MR curve. Yes, and MR is more steeper. MR can be 0. It can also be negative, while AR will never cross the x-axis. Right? It's not possible, right? So let's go ahead. Next one. MC and MR relationship we have understood, right? It will be a point of profit maximization. Okay. So next part is we have to understand what is supernormal profit, what is normal profit, and what is loss. So whenever average revenue is greater than average cost, it will be case of supernormal profit. If average revenue is equal to average cost, it will be normal profit. And if average revenue is less than average cost, it will be called as loss. Meaning and types of market we have already considered. All these things we have covered. Types of market we know already. Monopsony, oligopsony, bilateral monopoly we have covered towards initial phase of this chapter itself. Now we have to understand all the equilibrium curves of perfect competition, right, and imperfect competition as well. Okay, so let's begin. Yeah, one by one we are going to cover all the things, all the scenarios. So be with me. Mm, this part is not required. Okay. Price output determination under different market forms we are going to understand first. First of all, students, it is perfect competition. Do you know what is perfect competition? It is a market category where there are large number of buyers, large number of sellers buying and selling homogeneous goods at single uniform price. Correct? So there are large number of buyers and sellers. Prices are homogeneous and products are also homogeneous. One more feature is very important, and that should be there is free entry and exit of the firm. Okay. Next one, there is perfect knowledge in case of buyers as well as sellers. Then the transaction costs are generally very low. Individuals are price takers. This also I have explained to you. Now, equilibrium of the industry. How is price determined in case of perfect competition? So see, this is the equilibrium price of a competitive industry, that is a perfect competition. So if a firm is trying to enter, the firm has to go for the same price which exists or prevails in the market. If let's suppose there are a large number of buyers and sellers buying and selling onions in the market, and all of them are selling at 100 rupees, for example, I am selling, and let's suppose Chirag, that is me, who is the new entrant in this market, wants to sell onion. If I sell more than this, no one will be buying it from me. And if I try to sell less than this, then this sellers, other sellers will go against me. So I have to also accept 100 rupee as the selling price. So whatever price prevails in the market, I will be adopting that price only. So who am I? I am a price taker. I cannot make my own price, right? I am a price taker. So this is how equilibrium price is determined, students. As you can see, this is the industry, okay, industry price, and this is how the individual price will also be selected. And you are already aware about it. We have studied that in case of perfect competition, price will be equal to AR will be equal to MR. Correct? So now what we need to understand, friends, when we will be having average revenue more than average cost. So in short run, what will be the scenario that we need to understand? In long run, what should be the scenario that we need to understand that? Okay. So give me just 1 second. Can a competitive firm earn profit? Yes. In short run, it can earn supernormal profit. This will be the diagram. How this diagram is derived, that I will show you in detail. You need not worry about it. It can earn normal profit, or it can also make losses. Okay, how is that possible? Let's say we are working in a perfect competition. So in a perfect competition, friends, everyone is selling the commodity at 100 rupee. Now you enter into the market, you try to sell at 120 because you are a new seller, try to offer a variety or a different type of not product, but different kind of service along with the product. So for the time being, people will pay that 20 rupees extra, so you can earn more profit for the time being. But in long run, that's not possible. Correct? In long run, you will have to sell only at 100 rupees only. If you try to sell at 80 rupees, you will start making losses. It will not be in affordability range. You will have to again pull it back to 100. So when we are talking about perfect competition, see this very carefully. When we are talking about perfect competition, guys, let's say in perfect competition, then we have short run and we have long run. In short run, you can earn supernormal profit, you can earn normal profit, or it can also be loss. But in long run, it will always be only one thing, and that is normal profit. Now, what do you mean by supernormal profit? What do you mean by normal profit and loss? If your average revenue is greater than your average cost, it will be your supernormal profit. If your average revenue is equal to your average cost, that will be your normal profit. And if your average revenue is less than your average cost, then it will be your loss. Simple? Yeah? Sure about this one? And in normal profit in long run, it will be long run average revenue will be equal to long run average cost. Okay. So whatever doubts, clarifications, or you needed in while studying this chapter today, we are going to solve all of them. Okay. Every concept will be clear. Just focus here. So in perfect competition, first thing that we are going to do is we are going to cover short run. So short run, we are going to have first case, that is of super normal profit. Then we will discuss normal profit, and then we will discuss loss. Okay. So the first thing, guys, in case of perfect competition, we have to draw AR and MR curve. How is that? So on y-axis, we have to represent all the curves. On x-axis, it will be quantity. Remember one thing, MR and MC help us in determining quantity. AR and AC help us in determining whether we are making profit or loss. Okay. So MR and MC will help us in determining the level of equilibrium quantity that we need to produce in business. So how is the AR and MR curve in case of perfect competition? It is straight line. So here we have a straight line. What does this represent? This represents MR is equal to AR is equal to price, of course. Next one, we have to draw MC curve. MC curve is looks like a J shaped, but in syllabus it is given as U shaped only. So we will remember it as U shaped, right? But it looks like J. So this is our MC. When MC cuts MR, that will be our equilibrium level of output. So this becomes our equilibrium quantity. Now at this quantity, whether we are making profit or we are making loss, how would that be determined? That depends upon the level of average cost, because we have average revenue. This is our average revenue, yes or no? Now we have to determine the average cost. Average cost is how? Average cost is U-shaped curve. So U-shaped curve, we are having this. Okay. So this becomes our AC. Now look at this very carefully, guys. At this quantity Q, this is our average cost, right? Cost is what? Cost is our spending, the expenditure that we are doing, right? And this part is nothing but revenue, the income that we are earning. So this is our income, the above point where it is our AR, and this is our cost, which is our AC. So if you clearly notice here, friends, my AR is greater than AC. If my AR is greater than AC, then this shaded region will be called as supernormal profit. So why it is supernormal profit? Because average revenue is greater than average cost. Very clear in this? Sure about this one? Okay. So let's go ahead to the second case. Okay. Now we are going to talk about normal profit as well as loss. Okay. And when we are talking about normal profit, guys, remember, normal profit is also there in case of long run. So we are not going to draw a separate diagram. In the same diagram, I will show you the effect. Okay, so let's begin how normal profit and loss will be seen. All right. So here we have y-axis, 0, x-axis. On y-axis, we are going to have AR, MR, AC, and MC. Okay, on x-axis, what do we plot? We plot quantity. So first thing, students, what do we have? We have AR is equal to MR curve. So that will be how? That will be straight line. Yes or no? So this will be our MR is equal to AR curve. Now next point is what? Next point is MC curve. MC curve is how? It is like this. When MC cuts MR, that will be our equilibrium level of quantity. So this becomes our quantity Q. Very clear in this one? Now at this quantity, we have to find out what is our cost so that we can determine whether we are earning profit or loss. So if I want to draw average cost curve here, so average cost curve is U-shaped curve, which is nothing but this curve, average cost curve. It is tangent at this point. So at this point, what does it represent? It represents that AC is equal to AR, which is nothing but normal profit. I hope you are very clear in this. Similarly, when we are talking about losses, right? So first of all, we have to draw a curve which is MR is equal to AR. So this will be the line where MR is equal to AR we are having. Am I right? Now the next part will be MC curve. How is our MC curve? MC curve will be J-shaped, somewhat like this. When MC cuts MR, this will be our equilibrium level of output quantity. Now we have to find out, friends, what is our average cost. So average cost in this case is greater than average revenue. So if this is my average cost, right, at this quantity, this becomes my cost, right? This portion is my cost, and this is my revenue. So average cost is greater than average revenue. So this zone represents what? This represents loss. So when is loss possible? When average revenue is less than average cost. I hope you are very clear in this, guys. Sure about this one? Now, if I want to show normal profit of long run, in long run, how would the normal profit look like? So this is my normal profit, guys. In long run, what will happen? Instead of AC, it will be LAC. Instead of AR, it will be LAR. instead of MC, it will be LMC. Instead of AC, it will be LAC. Instead of LMR, instead of MR, it will be LMR, and AR will be LAR. Correct? So whatever points you have, it will be instead of MC, you have to just add L to it. L is what? Long. So it will be long run marginal cost, long run average cost, long run marginal revenue, long run average revenue. So what about short runs? Short runs will also be present, but how it will look like? See, if I want to represent a short run cost curve in the long run cost curve, then it would look something like this, because SAC is a smaller part as compared to AC or LAC, right? If I want to show MC as well, so if I want to show now SMC, let's suppose, so SMC will be this part. Are you getting this? I hope you're understanding. So it will be a small part. So basically, moral of the story, in perfect competition in long run, remember one thing: in long run, everything is equal to everything. Because in long run, in perfect competition, we get what we get: normal profit. Correct? So in case of normal profit, price is equal to AR is equal to, I will put it as SAR is equal to LAR is equal to SMC, that is short run marginal cost, is equal to long run marginal cost, is equal to SMR, is equal to LMR, is equal to, are we left with anything? Yes, AC. SAC is equal to LAC. Everything is equal to each other, right? This is how normal profit in long run looks like. Sure on this one? Very clear? Right? So that completes our perfect competition, guys. The next part is imperfect competition. Now, in case of imperfect competition, first of all, we need to understand what are the cases that are possible in case of short run as well as in long run, in case of monopoly as well as monopolistic competition. So let me highlight that first part and then we go ahead. Okay. This is how the long run equilibrium in perfect competition looks like, where everything is equal to each other. Okay. See this. This is the same diagram which we have drawn. So SMC, LMC, LAC, SAC will be equal to AR is equal to MR. Everything is at equilibrium. What point is this? This is nothing but normal profit. As simple as that. Okay. Next. Now we are going to have monopoly and monopolistic competition. Quickly, students, I will tell you the features of monopoly as well. There is only single seller of the product in the market. There are barriers to entry. Okay. No one else can enter into this business. There are no close substitutes available. And of course, the monopolist is having the market power. Okay. How does this monopolies occur? If you have a strategic control over scarce resources, inputs, or technology, if you are technologically sound, no one else can copy that, then you will be having monopoly, right? You can develop a unique product, you can have exclusive rights to produce that products, you can have patents and copyrights, you can enter into cartels, that is nothing but combinations, many businesses coming together. Extremely large setup cost can also result into a barrier. Natural monopoly can also be there, right, which is presented to you with the help of nature. Enormous goodwill if it is present, right? No one else can dare to compete with you. Stringent legal and regulatory requirements are there, so people will not be interested in entering into that business. Anti-competitive practices are used. Now, margin monopolist revenue curves, AR and MR curve, you are aware about it, is both are downward sloping. Same in case of monopolistic competition as well. Why? Because if you have to sell more of quantity, then you will have to reduce the price. Okay. So if your quantity goes on increasing and if your price goes on decreasing, then your marginal revenue and average revenue have to fall. So in case of monopolistic competition and in case of monopoly, what are the things that we are going to see? Let's have a look at it. In case of monopoly market, profit maximization, what we are going to have. So in short run equilibrium, in case of monopoly market, we are going to have first thing as supernormal profit. So if you see this part, profit, I'm going to draw this diagram. Students, just by looking at this diagram, I'm not sure if you will be able to understand this. We can also have losses in short run, but in long run, students, if you're operating in your, in monopoly, if you're a monopolist, in long run, you will never satisfy yourself with losses or with normal profit. You will always tend to earn more and more. That is super normal profit. So moral of the story is, in case of monopoly, in short run, and in long run, what are the scenario? In short run, we can earn either super normal profit or loss. in long run we can have super normal profit. Correct? Next part is monopolistic competition. Is price discrimination possible in monopoly? Yes, it is possible. What do you mean by price discrimination? When in different market you are charging different prices, it will be called as price discrimination. Okay, you have to remember this. This is the same formula of MR. MR is equal to AR into E minus 1 upon E. Students, why do we go for price discrimination? Because we want to earn maximum profit, or if you want to dispose of our surplus stock, if we want to have economies of scale, if we want to enter into foreign markets, right? For example, China, if they want to enter into Indian markets, they offer the goods at lower price, they penetrate in our market, or to secure the equity through pricing as well. So these are the different ways of entering into markets. Price discrimination is possible, right? So there are different cases in equilibrium of price discrimination, students, which I'm very sure you know it already. Now, economic effects of monopoly, this is just a theoretical part. You can just go through it once and you will be able to understand that. Now, coming to the monopolistic competition part, students, what are the features of monopolistic competition? There are going to be large number of sellers. There will be product differentiation, right? Because we are selling heterogeneous products in the market. There will be freedom of entry and exit. There will be non-price competition, which means the competition will also be based on the quality, after sales services, product development, better distribution, etc., etc. Now, what are the price output determination or the equilibrium in case of short run as well as in the case of long run? So in short run we can make super normal profit in monopolistic competition, right? There can be losses, there can be, in long term what we are going to do, in long term we are going to have only normal profit, right? So these are the three scenarios that we are going to discuss now in case of monopoly as well as in case of monopolistic competition. So be with me, students. Very important topic. I am going to cover all the diagrams which are there in monopoly as well as in case of monopolistic competition. Okay, so in monopoly, as you know, in short run there are two parts: super normal profit and normal profit. In long run it is super normal profit only. In monopolistic competition, in short run as well as in long run, what are the things that we are having? In short run we are having super normal profit and loss. In long run we are having only one thing, and that is nothing but super normal sorry, that will be normal profit. So in monopoly, what are the two cases existing? In short run it will be super normal profit and loss. In long run it will only be super normal profit. In monopolistic competition, in short run we have super normal profit and we have losses. In long run we will have only normal profit. Now students, listen to this very carefully. I'm going to draw this one diagram. Okay, this diagram. Why? Because these two are the same as here, so I need not draw it again. Same diagram will be applicable here. Here also same diagram is applicable, only in what is the difference between short run and long run? If you remember, in long run we have, instead of AC it will be LAC, instead of MR it will be LMR, everything else remains the same. Okay, yeah, this will be the diagram that we need to draw of normal profit in monopolistic competition. So overall we have three diagrams in which we will be covering six cases. Fair enough. So let's begin one by one with this three diagrams. First thing that we are going to draw is super normal profit. Be with me. If possible, students, while I am drawing the diagram, if you have everything ready, you can also do that. Okay, draw it. It will help you in practicing. Okay, so let's begin. So here we have what? Here we have MR, AR, MC, and AC in order to determine whether we are having profit or loss. On x-axis we have quantity. So how is MR and AR curve? Both are downward sloping, yes or no? So this will be our MR curve, which is downward sloping certainly. And next one is our AR curve. This is also downward sloping, but not as fast as MR. Okay, next. What we have to do, we have to find out MC. This is our MC, marginal cost curve. When MC cuts MR, that will be our equilibrium level of output. So this becomes our equilibrium quantity. Now at this quantity, how much is our revenue? So our revenue will be determined by AR. So we have to stretch this point up to this point. So this point represents our average revenue. Now we have to find out, friends, what is our average cost. So for average cost, we have to draw another curve, which will be AC curve, which will be U-shaped curve like this. So at this point, this becomes my AC average cost, and this is my revenue. So if you notice, apologies, I've drawn a different case. I will draw it again, no problem. So we have to draw average cost curve. So if I want to draw average cost curve, students, it will be U-shaped, right? So in this scenario, what did we understand? This is our average cost and this is our average revenue. So average revenue is above average cost. So whenever average revenue is above, that means average revenue is greater than average cost. So this entire zone will represent what? It will be representing our supernormal profit, right? So which is applicable in monopoly as well as monopolistic competition. Same diagram will be applicable. Fair enough. The next part we can draw is of losses. This was of supernormal profit. Similarly, we can draw of loss as well. Okay, so let's begin. This becomes our which curve? MR curve. This becomes our which curve? AR curve. Guys, what's next one? We draw MC, right? So this is our MC. When MC cuts MR, that will be the equilibrium level of output. At this quantity, how much is our average revenue? So this portion represents our average revenue. But how much is our average cost? So average cost will be drawn with the help of U-shaped curve. Yes or no? So let's suppose this is our average cost. So at this portion, this is my average cost. So if you notice, cost is more than the revenue. So this entire zone, average revenue is less than average cost. So this represents what? This represents loss, which is again applicable in monopoly as well as monopolistic competition in short run. Okay. Supernormal profit that we have studied earlier, the supernormal profit diagram, this will also be applicable in long run monopoly here. Now we are left with only one diagram, that is of normal profit in monopolistic competition. So let's begin with that part, students. Monopolistic competition in long run. Let's have a look at it. Okay, so here instead of AC, MC, MR, LAR, I am writing LMC, LAC, LAR, and LMR. So now downward sloping will be our marginal revenue. I will name it as LMR because I am trying to represent long run of monopolistic competition. This will be our LAR. Then we have what next is our MC curve. So we name it as LMC, that is long run marginal cost curve. This is the equilibrium level of output or quantity. At this point, this is my average revenue. So this is the revenue that I'm earning. Now I have to find out, students, how much is my quantity, right? So depending upon quantity, how much is my cost? So I have to draw a cost curve here. Okay, so this becomes my LAC. Now at this point, students, what does it represent? It represents that my LAC is equal to my LAR. So whenever my long run average cost curve is equal to my long run average revenue, what will happen? It will be the scenario of normal profit. So this is how monopolistic competition operates. I hope, students, in both the cases, in monopoly as well as monopolistic competition, you are very clear, right? Next part that we are going to understand, friends, it will be our oligopoly, which is the last part. Okay, now in case of oligopoly, what do we have? So first one is pure or perfect oligopoly. Now what do you mean by perfect or pure oligopoly? First of all, do you know what is oligopoly? There are less than 10 players in the market, less than 10 sellers in the market. It will be called as oligopoly market. Okay, now if they are buying and selling homogeneous product, it will be called as pure or perfect oligopoly. Okay, next one. Mm, yeah, next one, students, it is nothing but open and close oligopoly. What do you mean by open and close oligopoly? Where there is free entry and exit in the market, it is called as open oligopoly. Where there is no entry, right? The entry is closed. It will be called as closed oligopoly. Next one is collusive oligopoly and competitive oligopoly. Collusive oligopoly means the sellers will fix the price. They are going to sell at the same price or the same output or both. Okay, sellers have mutual understanding. They will not compete with each other on the basis of price. So they have fixed the price as same. It will be called as collusive oligopoly. Competitive oligopoly means they will compete with each other at different prices, at different output levels, etc. Okay. Next one is partial or full oligopoly. Now, what do you mean by partial oligopoly or full oligopoly? Okay. What do you mean by partial oligopoly or full oligopoly? Partial means when the entire industry is dominated by one player. So one player is the leader and everyone else is the follower. Full oligopoly means what? Means everyone will be getting the opportunity. There is no one dominant player in the market. Okay. Next and last one is syndicated oligopoly and organized oligopoly. Now, syndicated means all the sellers will come together and sell through a particular channel. So when they are selling through a particular channel, it is called as syndicated oligopoly. Organized oligopoly means all the sellers will come at a central association. They will create a particular central association where they will come together and sell, but they will not sell through a particular channel. They will not sell at a particular price only. See, understand, many a time students get confused between collusive oligopoly, syndicated oligopoly, and organized oligopoly. Collusive means they will be at different locations. Location barrier is not there. Okay. In syndicated and in organized, location is there. In a particular location, they will come. In collusive oligopoly, they will be selling at a same price. In syndicated oligopoly, all will be selling, but they will not be selling directly to the consumer. They will be selling to through a channel, through a platform that is syndicated. Organized means all of them will be selling individually, but they will come together in a particular place and then they will sell to the market. Very clear in this, right? So these are nothing but different types of oligopoly. Now, characteristics of oligopoly, students. First one, they are interdependent on each other. All the sellers in the market are interdependent on each other. There is importance of advertising as well as selling cost. It plays a very important role because all the producers have to go for advertisements to sell more and more. Next one is they have group behavior. That means they deal, they don't deal individually. They deal like as if they are same type of products or same company. So all the companies have group behavior, right? Because their aims and objectives are also same, products are also similar. Okay. Next part, quickly coming on to the price leadership or the kink demand curve. Now, this is a very important demand curve, students. And the last part in our unit number 3 as well as chapter number 4 that we have, right? Other market form, duopoly, monopsony, oligopsony, bilateral monopoly. I think we have already covered. So yes, we are left with only one part in this entire chapter, and that is kink demand curve, students. And then we go on to the MCQs. Okay. So let's begin. Now, what do you mean by kink demand curve? Let me make that kink demand curve for you. Now, it is an oligopoly market. So I am going to draw two demand curves for you. Okay. Now, this is, let's suppose, price, and this is, let's suppose, quantity demanded. Let me name this as P and Q. Now, student, this is price and quantity of, let's suppose, Vodafone Idea company. Who are the competitors of Vodafone Idea? Then it will be Airtel. Then we have Geo and we have BSNL. Okay. So now let's suppose Airtel, sorry, not Airtel, Vodafone Idea came up with an idea. They said Geo came into the market. They decreased the price and grabbed so many consumers. We will also follow the same strategy. Who said this? Vodafone Idea. We will also decrease the price by a huge quantity, huge number, so that we also gain large number of customers. Okay. So if they reduce the price, what will other competitors do? Sit and relax, or they will also reduce the price? They will also reduce the price. So they were imagining that there will be a huge change in demand, but it will not be like that. Even if the demand changes, it will demand increase in demand will only be slight, small demand. Okay, so this will be the case Q1. So we will have P1 Q1. Are you getting this? So the demand curve will be something like this. Demand curve will be somewhat like this. Yes or no? Now, what happened, Idea or Vodafone Idea rather thought this is cheating. When I reduce the price, everyone reduces the price. So now what I will do? I will increase the price so that everyone increases the price and we make money. So what do you think, students? As soon as the Vodafone Idea increases the price, Jio and Airtel will also increase? No, they will sit back and relax. They will say, all the best, Vodafone, right? Get well soon. Or try to go leave India. Hmm? So whenever the price increment happens, the demand will not increase, friends, or the other competitors will not work in the same manner. So what will happen? The people will start porting. They will shift from Vodafone Idea to possibly Jio or Airtel. So the demand will fall. Huge change in demand. So this will be our Q1. So again, if I want to draw P1 and Q1, now look at this demand curve, friends. So in oligopoly, it is a combination of relatively elastic and relatively inelastic demand curves. Are you getting this? Now, if I want to show both the cases in single demand or single curve, is that possible? Yes, of course it is possible, right? If I want to show both the cases, so this was our original price and quantity, P and Q, yes or no? Now, the next price and quantity which I've just explained will be this one, P1 and Q1, and the next one will be P2 and Q2. So let's suppose this one, right? And based on this, that in these boxes, if I try to draw a curve, a demand curve, how would the demand curve look like? The combination of these two, the demand curve would look something like this. Yes or no? If I erase this boxes now, okay, just give me 1 second here. Let me draw this curve again so that it is very clear for you. Okay. Now, if I remove this boxes, students, from this diagram, how is the curve? If you notice, it is a kink demand curve. Kink means there is a tilt, there is a movement. So what is this kink demand curve? It is nothing but, friends, combination of these two diagrams only. Okay, so very clear in this. Okay, so these two diagrams make one this diagram, which is kink demand curve. That completes our chapter number 4 entire revision. What are the things that we have understood? We studied too many things today, right? So we have completed unit number 1, in which we understood types of market, different types of revenue, TR, MR, and AR. We understood MR formula. We understood behavioral principle as well. Do you remember the two behavioral principles? I will revise that again. First one was shutdown point. When the price is equal to your variable cost, it will be a shutdown point. Second one is your equilibrium level of output or the profit maximizing level of output. That will be the point where MR is equal to MC. Then we started with unit number 2, that was determination of prices, in which we have understood equilibrium price and we understood 16 cases of different demand and supply, and we did some MCQs as well in that. And later on, students, we started with chapter number 4, unit number 3. After the break, in unit number 3, we have completed perfect competition. We understood the features as well as the short run performance and the long run performance of perfect competition. Monopoly, monopolistic competition, we understood price discrimination as well. And right now, we have completed oligopoly. With that, this was an elaborative revision of entire chapter number 4. Now let's focus on the last part, which is nothing but MCQs. Okay, so are you ready for the MCQs? Yes. So let's begin. Yeah. Okay, so let's begin now. A firm under perfect competition will be making minimum losses. Now, what do you mean by minimum losses? Minimum loss is a point where there is maximum profit. So what is the point of maximum profit? Don't look at the options, for God's sake. Just think about the question which I'm asking. Okay. In case of perfect competition, the point of minimum losses, or we say the point of maximum profit. Point of maximum profit is a point, students, where my MR is equal to MC. Yes or no? It is a point where MR is equal to MC. Now, do we have that option? Yes, we have. C will be the correct one. the system still remains the same. Okay, you, if you are getting it right, please put +1. If you're not attempting it before I do it, then it will be 0. Okay, and if you are getting it wrong, minus 0.25, so that by the end of this MCQ set, we should be very clear of how many marks we are scoring. All right, let's go ahead. In perfect competition, utilization of resources. In perfect competition, how many buyers and sellers do we have? Large number of buyers and large number of sellers, and they are selling and buying at their optimum level of capacity, or the full majority capacity level, because the demand is perfectly elastic. Perfectly elastic means straight line parallel to x-axis, and whenever their demand is straight line parallel to x-axis, supply also meets that, then it will be what? It will be full utilization of resources. C will be the correct answer. Very clear in this. Next one, price discrimination occurs when? Okay, now what do you mean by price discrimination? When we are trying to sell product at different prices, yes or no? So let's have a look at it. Price discrimination occurs when producers sell a specific commodity or service to different buyers for the same price. Different buyers for the same price? No, no, no. Producer sells specific commodity or service to different buyers at two or more different prices due to difference in cost. This may be answer if we don't find a better version of it. Okay. Producer sells a specific commodity or service to different buyers at two or more different prices at reasons not associated with difference in cost. Okay. Producers under perfect competition sells different goods to different. See, different goods selling is not important. Different buyers, we are selling it at a different prices. That is important. And let me tell you one more thing, students. That is not related to cost, right? Because cost of production will remain the same if you are selling the same goods. So between B and C, which one do you think is more reliable? I think C is better one. Okay, very clear in this, right? So that's our third one, C. Next one, MC curve under monopoly lies between AR and Y axis. Well, that's true, right? So this is my MR curve. Sorry, MR curve lies, and this is my what? This is my AR curve. Okay, so yeah, so lies between AR and Y axis. Yes, it is lying between them. Correct. The rate of decline of the MR is dash, just half that the rate of decline of AR. Yes, that's true. Just equal to the rate of decline of AR. No, because both are declining at a different rate. Just triple the rate of decline in average revenue, just double the rate of decline in average revenue. Now students, when we are talking about decline in MR and decline in AR, please remember one thing. MR rises faster, MR falls faster. Yes or no? As I've already mentioned, MR rises faster and MR falls faster. So in this scenario, if MR is falling faster than AR, what do you mean? The rate of decline is what? The rate of decline is half, equal to, triple, or double to that of average revenue. It is double to that of average revenue. See, it is equidistant. If the answer, first I marked A, why? What's the reason? Because if it is at half distance of AR, that means the distance between AR and Y axis, if it is half of that, then we will go for A. But in the question, if they are asking the rate of decline, then we have to select just double the rate of decline, because it is falling at a rate which is double than that of AR. That's why it is cutting half of it. Okay. So that's about MR and AR. In the long run, normal profits are included in the dash. Now, when do we have normal profit? Right? Normal profits are included in dash curve. Right? How do we determine the level of normal profit? It is based on LAR and LAC. So the correct option here, because we have AC, so we will go with LAC. Which of the following statement is correct? Okay. Monopolist can earn only profits. A monopolist can also earn losses. Yes or no? Correct. Firms in perfectly competitive market are price maker. No, they are price takers. Industry in a firm competitive market is a price taker. Well, industry are not price taker. Price taker are the firms in perfect competition. AR curve and demand curve are the same. Yes, as I have mentioned already, AR curve and demand curve are the same. So we go with D. Next one, soap industry is example of what? What type of soap industry are we talking about? There are so many soap brands. Yes or no? All of them are selling the same product, same brand, same color, same size, same fragrance. Everything is same. No, 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 no. There is only one player in the market. No, there are many. Right? So if there are large number of buyers, large number of sellers, and they are selling different types of commodities, there is product differentiation as well. So which kind of competition is that? Is that oligopoly? No. Is that perfect competition? Not at all. Is it monopolistic competition? Yes, certainly. Is it monopoly? Not at all. Right? So we are having different brands in India which we can use. Okay. So monopolistic competition. When price is less than average variable cost at the profit maximizing level of output. What do you mean by that? Price is less than average variable cost at the profit maximizing level of output. That means MC is equal to MR. So what should you do? Should you produce at MC is equal to MR if you're not able to recover your price, or should you shut down? The ideal point is you should shut down, students. There is no chance of producing goods and services, because yes, I have told you, you have to produce when you get the point as MR is equal to MC. I have only told you that. But at the same time, I have also told you that when the price is greater than AVC, only then you will go for production. If your price is less than AVC, even if MR is equal to MC, then we will not produce because it will be our shutdown point. So the correct option would be A, shutdown, since it is not able to recover its variable cost. What is option B and C? Let's have a look at it. Produce where MC is equal to MR if operating in short run. In long run, no, 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 no. Both of these are wrong. None of the above not applicable. Very clear in this, right? Next one, for price taking firm. What do you mean by price taking firm? It is perfect competition. Price taking firm means perfect competition. Okay. So what happens in case of perfect competition? Marginal revenue is less than price. Hmm? No, marginal revenue is same as price, right? MR is equal to AR is equal to P, right? So it is not less than price. Marginal revenue is greater than price. Now, the relationship between marginal revenue and price is not clear. No, this is not relationship status, na? Committed, not committed, single. No, no, it's very clear, right? In economics, relationship between these curves are very clear. Okay, don't worry. Marginal revenue is equal to average revenue. Yes, that's true. MR is equal to AR in case of perfect competition. That's true. Okay. Next one, excess capacity is essential characteristic of the firm in the market form of excess capacity exists in case of monopolistic competition because there are many sellers, right? So excess capacity will always exist. Okay. So this is our first set of 10 questions, students, which we have covered. Okay, then we continue with 11th one. But before going there, let us take a small break of 5 minutes. I'll see you again after 5 minutes. All right, students. So question number 11. Okay, friends. A condition needed for a perfectly competitive industry to exist is that. Now, in case of perfect competition, what are the conditions that we need to discuss one by one? First one, buyers are able to influence the price of the commodity. Buyers are able to influence the price of the commodity. Well, buyers do not influence the price of the commodity, Do you agree to this? Yeah. Why? Because they are the price takers. So this one is automatically eradicated. Any units of commodity are considered by buyers to be different. No. In case of perfectly competitive, they are homogeneous. They are not different. So it is incorrect. Buyer discriminates in their purchases based on non-price factors. Well, we have never heard about that. There are no obstacles to free mobility of resources. Well, yes, that's true. There is free mobility of resources. Yes or no? So the correct option is D. Very clear in this? Right? Simple questions, I think, today. In the long run, which competition a firm may earn super normal profit? In monopolistic competition, friends, a firm may earn normal profit. A perfect competition, a firm may earn normal profit. Oligopoly cannot be determined because of price rigidity, but still, if you want to discriminate and select one, then it will be normal profit. But in monopoly, because you are the only seller in the market and you can earn maximum profit, then you should go for super normal profit only. So in case of monopoly, the firm may earn super normal profit. That will be the correct answer. So D is right. For the price taking firm, price taking means what? Perfect competition. Okay. So whenever the questions comes, first of all, evaluate the question and then try to find out the correct answer. So for price taking firm, that is perfect competition. Marginal revenue is less than price. Nah. Marginal revenue is equal to price. Yes, we do agree to that. Marginal revenue is greater than price. No. The relationship between marginal revenue and price is indeterminate. No. In case of perfect competition, students, MR is equal to price. Why? Because if you remember, at this point, MR is equal to AR is equal to P, right? So MR is equal to price in case of perfect competition. Question number 14, my friends. A monopolist is able to maximize his profits when dash. Now, when would you be able to maximize the level of profit? What is the profit maximizing level? Maximizing profit is a point where your MR is equal to MC, right? That is the point when your total profit will be highest, will be maximum. So what will be the correct answer? When his output is maximum? No, we have never heard about output maximization, right? He charges high price. Well, students, please remember high charges or high price never ever says that we will be making higher profits. Correct? His average cost is minimum. Average cost minimum doesn't guarantee you the maximum profit. His marginal cost is equal to the marginal revenue. Well, yes, that's correct. MC is equal to MR. That will be the profit maximizing level. I think that's very simple, right? Repetitive as well. In imperfect competition, what do you mean by imperfect competition? Primarily, imperfect competition includes monopoly, oligopoly, monopolistic competition. But in isolation, whenever it is given, we have to select one of the three, right? So we will go with monopolistic competition, right? I understand many a times we get confused because of all these jargons and different types of concepts which are used. But what to do? It is a relative theory. So we have to deal with this kinds of alterations. So in imperfect competition, that is in monopolistic competition, excess capacity always exists. Yes, that's true. It will exist. Excess capacity never exists. It may or may not exist. None of the above. The correct answer would be it will always exist. Correct. So because in monopolistic competition, there is excess capacity, right, guys? Any doubts? Definitely you can tell me that. Do not worry about that. I will also tell you, friends, what do you exactly mean by excess capacity so that you are not worried about the meaning. Excess capacity is basically what. It is a condition that occurs when demand for a good or demand for a product is less than the amount of product that a business potentially supply to the market. Okay, so demand for a product is less than the amount of product that the business could potentially supply to the market. When a firm is producing at a lower scale of output, a firm is producing at a lower scale of output, then it is called as excess capacity, right? So many a times you would say that, capital utilization is not proper in case of monopolistic competition, because firms are in a position where they can produce more and more, but that depends upon demand. If there is no demand, whom will they sell, right? So that's why we say in imperfect competition, friends, excess capacity will always exist. Sure, let's go ahead. Product differentiation is the most important feature of dash. Now product differentiation, students, there has been a lot of confusion between monopolistic competition and monopoly. Oligopoly, there is slight product differentiation. In perfect competition, it is homogeneous product. But technically, if we talk about the market scenario which exists in the real market, monopoly offers slight product differentiation. That means they have little range of product differentiation. But when we talk about monopolistic competition, there are so many buyers, so many sellers, and they try to differentiate the product from one another. So monopolistic competition definitely has a higher level of product differentiation as compared to others. So we go with A, right? Question number 17, relationship between AR, MR and price elasticity of demand is dash. Now friends, when we are talking about AR, MR and price elasticity of demand, do you remember the formula which is there? It is MR is equal to AR into E minus 1 upon E, correct? So what is the formula that matches here? Is it A, B, C or D? Analyze. It will be B, E minus 1 upon E, right? So B becomes our correct answer for question number 17. Okay, let's go ahead. In a perfectly competitive firm, MC curve above AVC is the dash curve of the firm. Students, what is MC curve, by the way? Like how we have AR curve is demand curve, MC curve, which is an upward sloping curve, yes or no? An upward sloping curve represents our which curve? It represents our supply curve. So the correct option would be supply. Okay. In perfect competition, in the long run, there will be dash. Okay. So in perfect competition, in short run, there are three cases: supernormal profit, normal profit, and loss. But in long run, there will be only one scenario, students, and that will be normal profit, where our LAR is equal to our LAC. So it will be normal profit. Okay. In question number 19, the correct option is A. A firm encounters its shutdown point when? What do you mean by shutdown point? A shutdown point is a point, students, when you are not able to recover your variable cost. Okay. That means your variable cost is more than the price or equal to the price. Okay. So average total cost equals the price at the profit maximizing level of output. Do we talk about average total cost, or do we talk about average variable cost? We talk about average variable cost in case of shutdown. So A is not the answer. Okay. B, average variable cost equals price at profit maximizing level of output. Yes, it equals price. When it equals price, when AVC is equal to price, students, that will be our shutdown point. But let's hold on. Let's look at option C and D as well. Average fixed cost equals price. Nah, 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 nah. When we talk about average fixed cost is equal to price, never. Marginal cost equal to price at the profit maximizing level of output. It doesn't determine a shutdown point, right? So the correct option would be B. In which of the market structure is the degree of control over the price of its product in a firm very large, where you can control the price to a maximum extent? Can you do that in imperfect competition, in monopolistic competition? No, because your price will be influenced by your competitors. So you do not have the complete control or the degree of control over the price, because you will have to keep the price more or less which is similar to your competitors, not exactly same to your competitors, but similar. Monopoly, yes, monopoly has a high degree of price control. Oligopoly, no, substantial control is there, because you have to again compete with your competitors, close competitors, in fact. In perfect competition, absolutely it is zero. Why? Because you are a price taker. You have to accept the price, whatever is there in the industry. So you cannot decide on the price. So the correct option that we have here is monopoly. Monopoly is the one which has the degree of control over the price. Next one, under which market structure the control of the firm over price is nil? When it is nil? In case of which market? In case of price taker, when you cannot influence the price. Price taker means which market? In price in perfect competition. You need not look even B, C, and D. A is 100% correct. Simple. Next one. Now, what do you mean by administered price? See, administered. What do you mean by the word administered? It means it is governed or controlled, right? What is market price? Market price is the price which is kept by the influence of equilibrium of demand and supply. So whenever demand and supply determine the level of price, it will be called as equilibrium price or market price. However, if it is influenced by government, then it will be called as administered price. Okay, so let's look at the option. Price determined by the forces of demand and supply. No, then it will be called as equilibrium price, not administered price. Price determined by the sellers in the market. No, then that will be called as the price domination. Price determined by an external authority, which is nothing but government, which is usual. Okay, which is usually the government. So whenever government fixes the price, it will be called as administered price. I hope you are very clear in this, guys. Right? So administered price, please remember, this is something which you need to remember. MCQ can be asked on this one. Okay. Next one, if the demand is more than supply, the pressure on price will be dash. How do you solve this? By solving or by drawing the demand curve and supply curve. So this will be our demand curve. This will be our supply curve. What is happening to our equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity that we need to know. So this is our equilibrium price and quantity. Let's look at the influence of demand. If demand is more than supply, if demand increases, okay, what happens to equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity? The pressure on price will be upwards. It increases. Clear on this one, guys? Right? Which of the following has inelastic demand? Right? What do you mean by inelastic demand? If the price rises or price falls, change in demand. Inelastic, it is said. So inelastic means it will be less than one, but less than one, that means it goes up to zero. Okay. So elastic in change in demand will be less than the change in price. So in case of salt, if the price rises or price falls, do we stop consuming salt? No, we still do the same. Yeah. Food grains, it is a necessity. In case of necessity also, demand remains inelastic. In case of medicines also, demand remains inelastic. So the correct answer would be all of the above. Simple. Next one. When average revenue is 30 and output is 50, total revenue will be dash. Okay. Now, what is the formula for average revenue? What is the formula for average revenue? It is total revenue divided by quantity. Average revenue is 30. Total revenue you don't know. Quantity is given as 50, right? So TR will be what? It will be 50 into 30. That is nothing but 1500. These are simple questions here, right? These are all mock test paper questions. So I hope you are very much knowing these questions and you are able to solve it. Average revenue and price are always equal under dash. See, what is the formula for average revenue? It is TR upon Q. Now, is this any market specific or this is applicable on all the types of market? For different markets, do we have different formula for average revenue? No. So what is TR? It is nothing but price into quantity upon quantity. QQ cancel. So average revenue is equal to price, but this is not related to any particular market. You know, this is not related to any one particular market. This is applicable in all the different market forms. So what's the correct answer here? This will be applicable in all market forms. Simple, correct? Next one. If the total revenue of a firm increases by, this is change in total revenue which is given. It increases by 65,025 rupees. Okay. In sale of good X from 60 units to 75 units, the marginal revenue will be okay. Simple. Now, what is marginal revenue? It is nothing but change in total revenue upon change in quantity. Now, change in total revenue, friends, they have already given that is 65,025. Change in quantity is how much? Change in quantity, it is increasing from 60 to 75, right? So 60 to 75, the change in quantity is 15. So 65,025 divided by 15. The answer should be 4335. The correct answer would be B, right? You can do that in the calculator, students, right? 4335. Which of the following is not an essential condition of pure competition? What is pure competition? Pure competition, friends, it is part of perfect competition, but it satisfies not all the conditions, but some conditions. Like there should be large number of buyers and sellers, there should be homogeneous product, there should be same price and freedom of entry and exit. If these are the conditions which are fulfilled, then that type of market will be called as pure competition market. Okay. Now let's look at the options which are given. Which of the following is not an essential condition of pure competition? Okay, so what of the following is not applicable on pure competition? Large number of buyers and sellers, it is applicable. Yes, it is applicable. Homogeneous product, yes, it has to be there. Freedom of entry, yes, it has to be there. Absence of transport cost, not required. Absence of transport cost is an important condition of perfect competition, but not of pure competition. Okay, so in case of pure competition, this is not required. Next one, product differentiation is a key feature of dash. Product differentiation means you can have different products, and we have this repetitive question. So the correct option, directly I'm giving it to you, it is a monopolistic competition where we have different products sold by different market players. A market induces cartel in dash. Cartel means what? Cartel means many sellers come together and form a group. Okay, a market which brings cartel. So what it will result into? A market induces cartel is dash, right, which focuses on cartel. Cartel means now all the sellers will come together and sell, so it will result into what? It will result into monopoly. So monopoly becomes the correct answer, right? Next, question number 32. In context of oligopoly, the Kink demand hypothesis is designed to explain what? I've told you while explaining this question, while the concept itself, students, that it represents price rigidity. Why? Because we cannot change the price because of the variety in elasticity of demand that we observe in case of oligopoly, right? A combination of monopoly market and a monopsony market. Now, what do you mean by monopoly and monopsony market? Monopoly means only one seller, correct? What do you mean by monopsony market? Monopsony means only one buyer. So market condition when there is only one buyer and one seller, it is known as dash. What is duopoly? Duopoly means there are two sellers. Monopsony means there is only one buyer, but they are asking combination of monopoly plus monopsony. This will be like few buyers. Bilateral monopoly. Yes, that is correct. So bilateral monopoly is a combination where there is only one seller and one buyer. That's why we say it is a combination showing monopoly as well as monopsony. Fair enough? Okay. A firm encounters shutdown point. Again, the question is on shutdown point, friends. Now, shutdown point is a point where your price is equal to your average variable cost, right? Price is what? Your average revenue. So whenever your average revenue is equal to your average variable cost, that will be the shutdown point in our business. Let's have a look at the options. Average total cost equals price. Average total cost, do we talk about average total cost? No. Average variable cost equals price. Yes, this can be the correct one. This is a repetitive question, it feels. Average fixed cost equals price. No. Marginal cost equals price. No, sir. So the correct option would be average variable cost equals to the price at the profit maximizing level of output. So that will be the point where you are getting maximum revenue, as well as you should be having your shutdown point, because your price will not be able to recover the variable cost in the future. Okay. Next one, homogeneous products are sold under dash. Where do we sell homogeneous? Do you understand homogeneous? Same product, right? So it will be sold where? It will be sold in case of perfect oligopoly. In collusive oligopoly, non-collusive, perfect, imperfect. The correct answer is perfect oligopoly, because this is a market condition where few sellers come together, or few sellers are there in the market who are selling goods and services, but these are homogeneous, then it will be called as perfect oligopoly. This was the first type of oligopoly, in fact, right, that we have studied today. Okay, and last three questions, students, in our chapter number 4. So please be attentive, and I'm very sure you will be able to solve these ones as well. A market structure in which many firms sells products that are similar but not identical is known as dash. There are, first of all, see this, there are many firms, that means large number of firms. selling products that are similar. Similar means there will be product differentiation. Now, these are the two characteristics which are very important in which type of market condition. So, these are the two important characteristics of a market condition which is known as monopolistic competition. See, in monopoly, we have only one firm, right? In perfect competition, we do not have similar, we have homogeneous. In oligopoly, we do not have many firms, we have only few firms. So the only firm that or the only option that satisfies both the condition, it will be a monopolistic competition. I hope you are very clear in this. Next one, in a very short period market. Now, what happens in case of very short period market? In a very short period market, the supply is fixed, demand is fixed, demand and supply both are fixed, none of the above. The correct option would be supply is fixed. Why, students? If you remember, in a market category, I told you four things: very short period market, long period market, and very long period market. Now, in case of very short period market, you do not get an opportunity to change the supply. Demand can change at any given point of time, my friends. Please remember, while we were understanding elasticity of demand as well, in that we have understood in short run also, demand remains inelastic, but it is relatively inelastic. It cannot be perfectly inelastic. But in case of perishable goods, in case of very short period, that is in case of short run also, it will be perfectly inelastic supply. So in very short period market, the supply cannot be changed. We will be supplying. Why? Because all the factors that we are having in short run or in very short period market, students, it remains constant. If it remains constant, we cannot change the level of supply. It will remain the same. So that's why we say A will be the correct answer. Okay. And the last question in this chapter, students, a monopolist is who? A monopolist is a price maker, price taker, price adjuster, or none of the above. The correct answer would be a monopolist is a price maker. Who is the price taker, friends? A firm in perfect competition will be called as price taker. Price adjuster is no one. Price maker. Why? Because when you are having monopoly in the market, you are the only one which will be leading the entire market. So you can determine the price as per your wants. You need not get influenced by anyone else in the market, right? So who is a monopolist? A monopolist is the one who sets the market in order to earn the highest level of profits. So monopolist will be a price maker. So that completes our all the MCQ, students. I hope you are very clear in this. That completes our chapter number 4. 3 units we have completed, friends. We understood all the scenarios, all the concepts in this chapter. Chapter number 2, 3, and 4 we have completed. We are left with chapter number 1 and chapter number 5 that we shall be completing in the next session. Thank you so much.